This is a parent video teaching you how to do division with your scholars in fourth grade. So I'm going to show you three different strategies. One for children who are still having difficulty, one for children who are on level, and one for children who need a little bit of a challenge. So our standard is for MBTB6, finding whole number quotient remainders with up to 4-digit dividends and 1-digit divisors using strategies on base 10 value and properties of operations and or relationships between multiplication and division. Keeping that in mind, the problems that I'm going to show you today, we're going to think about how we can solve them. These are some strategies that I share with my scholars that I've been using for years and have been adapted throughout the years depending on where I've been teaching. The first one is to reread. Think about what is being asked. 2, what do I know? I always tell them, think of the light bulb. What are the bullets in your head of the basic information you're looking at? Of what do you need to know? 3, who and what is the problem about? 4, can I draw a model and should I draw a model? Or can I use something else to model? Write an equation is number 5. And number 6 is check your strategy or check your work with another strategy. So this is a problem that we have for our on-level as well as below learners, children who are still struggling. So I'm going to read the problem and then I'd ask if you could just reread it to yourself. So it says, Ava's mom made 88 cookies and she wants to put them into 3 bags. How many cookies will fit in each bag? Will there be any left over? So the first thing you do after reread is think about what you need to know. So I'll give you a second to reread. All right, so what we need to know is that Ava's mom is making 88 cookies, right? And that she wants to put them in 3 bags. This is important. So I'm going to underline this. This is something I tell my scholars to do on a regular basis. We want to know how many cookies will fit in each bag. How many cookies fit in each bag? Any left over? Notice how I'm not underlining the whole problem. I'm just underlining the important parts. So the next thing we need to understand is who and what is the problem about. The problem's about Ava's mom. It's not about Ava. It's about her mom. Very important to understand the difference, especially if you're taking an exam. It's also about what it's about is the cookies. So the next thing on our list is to draw a model. Step 4, should I draw a model? We're not going to draw a model today. We're actually going to use base 10 blocks for our first step. So I brought these rods with me and I'm going to put 8 out because they represent 10 each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we know she made 88 cookies. So we need 8 more. 1, 2, and these 3. These are units. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we know she wants to put them into 3 bags. So maybe they're for 3 classes. Maybe she just wants to have them for 3 days. It doesn't give us this information. It doesn't matter what that information is. It matters that they want us to put it into 3 bags or 3 groups. Okay, simple enough. I can split it into 3 groups. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh. I don't have enough rods to make a third or to split it one more time. Let's see if I can split my units and then I'll go from there. So I put 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. But now I'm left. Now, this would be great because I have 1, 2, which represents 10, 20, and 2 units. If I was being asked to separate it into 4 groups, it would be evenly 4 groups of 22. But the problem is I'm being asked to separate 88 into 3 groups. I'm also asked if there's any left. So I need to exchange these. These rods have a value of 10 units. So I'm going to take one away and exchange it for 10 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have my 10 units here. I need to exchange my second rod for another 10 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I can break them up, hopefully evenly. To make my life a lot easier, I'm going to do this in groups of 2. That way I can do it quicker. Running low, so now I'm going to do it singularly. So let's look at how many I have in each group. 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 29 in each group. Same here, same here. I have 1 left. My next step is to check with an equation. So here I have something to show you how I checked my equation. Not only did I create an equation, but I also checked it. And I have this note down here for you to understand that I annexed the 0. So I created an area model. I decided to figure out that 3 times 29, because I had 3 groups of 29, to see if that would give me a total of 87, knowing that I had an extra 1 left. And it did, in fact, because when I annex the 0, I get 3 times 2, which is 6, and I bring that 0 down, that's 60, and then I do 3 times 9, which is 27. I add them up and get 87 with my remainder of 1. Over here, I check my work using a method called subtract down. I did 3 minus 88, and then I kept subtracting 3. Notice how I circled all of my 3's. All the 3's that are circled are the amount of times that I subtracted down. That 29 times is 88 divided by 3. That then gave me a remainder of 1. As you can see, I started here, got down to 61. I brought my 61 up here just so it'll be easier continuing to subtract down. And then I brought my 34 from down here to continue to subtract down. And 4 minus 3 is 1. So that is my first way of solving this. There is another method that we can use to solve this problem. Moving on to our on-level learners. So if you don't feel like you need to use base 10 blocks, that's fine. I'm going to ask you to reread again. So it says Ava's mom has made 88 cookies and she wants to put them in 3 bags. How many cookies will fit in each bag, and will there be any left over? So the first thing we're going to do after you have reread is to think about what you know. We know that Ava's mom is making cookies. We know that she has made 88 and she wants to put them in 3 bags. Our next step is, what is our problem about and who? It's about Ava, once again, and about the cookies. Not Ava specifically, I apologize. Ava's mom. Because if you get that wrong on an exam, you say Ava when it's Ava's mom, you're going to get points marked off. So it's about Ava's mom. The next part is draw a model. So what I'm about to show you next is actually how to use the partial quotient model. So it is an equation. It kind of looks like a model. You can check it using base 10 blocks, but we're actually going to move straight into an equation. Now this is going to be confusing for some of you who know the original method of being taught long division, but bear with me. So we have 88. And put it in a little box. We make this large little 7 thing. We call this the big 7 method. So we have 3. We need to figure out how many groups of 3 we can make out of 88. And if there's going to be any left over. So we're looking here. We want to figure out 3 times what will bring me close to 88. We want to do this thing, it's called decompose. Now you saw me do that before when I took the rod right here and I decomposed it into units, right? Well, we're going to do the same thing with numbers. So we're going to think about basic facts that we know. I know that 3 times 10 gives me 30. I know that 3 times 20 gives me 60, right? So 3 times 20 gives me 60. So I'm going to subtract and take 60 out of 88. 8 minus 0, 8. 8 minus 6, 2. Here we go. I still need to decompose this. 3 times what is going to be able to decompose 28? Make it smaller. I know that 3 times 9 is 27. So I'm going to take 27 from 28. And I'm going to get 1. Now what I need to do is I need to add these 2 up over here. I get 29. Remainder 1. Simple? All right, now for our challenge problem. Our learners who need a little bit more extra. Here we go. Take a minute to read that to yourself, and then I will read it to you. All right, so Ava's mom made cupcakes for her birthday party at school. There are a total of 80 cupcakes baked, half vanilla and the other half chocolate. If there are 32 scholars in her class, how many cupcakes will each child get? And how many will be left over? Show your work. So, flip this over so you can see. Reread the problem. I asked you already to read it, so I read it out loud to you. Reread. What do we know? Let's look at what we know. We know that Ava's mom made cupcakes for her birthday party at school. We know that she made a total of 80 cupcakes. Half vanilla and the other half chocolate. We know that there are 32 scholars in the class. And we know that she wants to know how many cupcakes will each child get. Will there be any left over? That's a lot to know. The next thing we need to know is who the problem is about and what it's about. Once again, it's about Ava's mom. And this time it's about cupcakes. So how do we go about to even solve this problem? Do we need to draw a model? And how would we go about drawing a model? We're going to actually use the partial quotient strategy again, but we're going to use the partial quotient strategy on a higher level. We are going to decompose. So we have 80 cupcakes and 32 scholars in the class. Big 7 again, and 32. So we want to figure out how many times 32 goes into 80. 32 times what gives me 80? Now you probably don't know this off the top of your head. You're like, I don't know my facts of 32. But here you go. On the side, 32 plus 32. 64. Plus another 32. 64 plus 32. 96. Too high. So we know that 32 times 2, because when we doubled it, gives us 64. So we can do